Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I know it has been a little bit, but I am back. I haven't been reading very often right now because I'm busy with a new job and paying the bills and all that stuff. I've also been editing my book Red Siren 2, which is the sequel to my first book, Red Siren. If you want to look more into that, that would be down below. But I am going to be doing a wrap-up for the month of October because I have missed doing these videos. I have missed reading and literature, so let's go ahead and get into it. So I only read 3 stories from one book this year. So this is this month. So this is the only book I'm actually going to be showing you. It is the fairy tales from around the world, which I actually did a whole video on. It's actually my most popular video. It's on my channel. I'm sure that you've seen it if you're here on my channel. I'm actually also going to be getting a couple more of the newer editions, not of this book, but I am going to be doing a haul at one point of all the new like leather-bound editions at Barnes & Noble. I think that would be such a fun video, and a special like part 2 for those who love the original video. So if you would like to see that, please hit that subscribe button, like this video. That is the only way this video grows and this channel will grow. And also go ahead and hit that link down below and purchase my young adult book. It seriously does help me, and thank you guys. So I read 4 books this month, actually. I read Beauty and the Beast, The Master Cat or Puss in Boots. I read The History of Whittington and The 40 Thieves. So let's go ahead and get into the review of Beauty and the Beast. So I had never read the original tale of Beauty and the Beast. The movie, the live action, and the cartoon is one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. So I definitely was excited, and I was not disappointed. So it's a fairly longer story actually, and it's about a princess who gives up her life, you know, for her father to take his place. And they actually, what was really, really nice about this is they took nods from the original fairy tale and moved them into the live action. So in the book, Belle has all of her sisters, and her father goes into town to see if he has riches, and he stumbles upon the palace, and he says to Belle, "What would you like me to bring? All your sisters and brothers have asked for something. What do you want?" And she was like, "I don't want anything." And then he's like, "No, please tell me what you want." And so she said, "I want 1 rose." So he takes the rose, and that's when the Beast is like, "You stole from me." And so it's definitely much more, the live action is much more accurate to the book than the cartoon is, if that makes sense. But with that being said, there were still really, really, really nice adaptations I hadn't seen. So she has, every day it's a new room she finds this whole thing of birds, and then she sees this like babbling brook, and every night when she goes to sleep, she dreams of this beautiful prince and sees his portrait in the gallery. And I don't know, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really lovely story. Again, it's just Beauty and the Beast, nothing special there. So let's go ahead and get into the next story that I read, which was Puss in Boots. And I think I've read Puss in Boots before when I first got this book, and I'm gonna have to say I did not like it. I don't know if I had read something else and that's what I was thinking of, but the story I read did not add up to the thing I was remembering, and so that's why I kind of didn't like it. I also didn't like it because basically all it is, so if you think of Puss in Boots, you think of this cat in boots, and he's, you know, witty, and he's, you know, good with a sword. I wouldn't say any of that of Puss in Boots from reading this tale. What he did basically is he saw an opportunity, he got on the good side of the king by giving him food, like catching him food, and then saw an opportunity for his master to, I guess, get on the good side of the king and marry the daughter, I guess, because he went around like they were in a carriage, and the king picked up his master, and then they stopped at every farm to a castle that they were heading to, apparently. But every farm, the cat, Puss in Boots, would run ahead of the carriage and say, I will kill you if you do not say that my master is your, like, tenant, basically. And so he does that to every farm until he gets to the castle, which is ruled by this beast or something, and he can, I think, shapeshift, if I'm remembering correct. And so he tricks him into shapeshifting into a mouse. He then eats the mouse, and the castle is then his master's just by saying it's his. So, and then they get married and it's all jolly. But I didn't like it. It wasn't very entertaining. I couldn't really find myself, I don't know, I just didn't like it. It wasn't a high enough stake for me, I guess. But again, people, you know, you can't like everything. So now on to the history of Whittington, which is actually something I had never heard of, nor had I ever read. So the history of Whittington is actually a very, very sad story about a little boy who I believe is an orphan. I don't remember how he becomes an orphan. And he leaves his small village to London because he has heard all this grand things about London and how the streets are paved with gold, and he gets there and it's not like that, and he becomes a beggar. He eventually becomes like a house slave to somebody, and he gets beaten up by the cook. It's not a good environment, and he says, I'm gonna leave this place, and he does, but then he sees, I think, an old woman who says go back, and so he does. And he had this cat who ate the mice that would run over him in the evening because he slept on a barrel of hay or something, and so he was always having mice climb all over him. So he went out and bought a cat with whatever money he had, and then he had to give the cat up to his master, who then sailed down to, like, I think South America. It might be more sense to be Africa. But anyway, they see a king and queen there, and I can't remember, but they have this mice problem, and so he's like, the master is like, oh my gosh, I have this cat on my ship from my sailboat boy. So he goes and gets the cat kills all the mice, and the king says, you can have all this treasure, and pays him in grandiose amounts. And I really appreciated that the master gave all of that to Whittingham, or Whittington. He gave it all to the boy. And I liked the happy ending. It was an interesting story. I mean, there was nothing magical about it, which it doesn't have to, but I really liked the story. It was really, really sad. It was kind of hard for me to get through. It was a longer story, and I wasn't familiar with it, so I wasn't expecting anything, and I think that's also why I couldn't really get into it, because I didn't know where it was going, if that makes sense. Because sometimes when you read like a fairy tale or something that you know, you read it because it's familiar and you're excited to get to a part, or if you're watching a live adaptation of a Disney movie, we're always looking at it like, okay, well, what's going to be different, you know, than what we already know. So I don't know, it's not a bad story. It was really sad, but I actually enjoyed it. It's just not my favorite. Okay, the last one I have is going to be The 40 Thieves, and I loved this story. So I just finished it just the other night, and it's about 40 thieves. So there's a man who is walking in the woods, and he stumbles upon some thieves, and so he climbs a tree to get, you know, not be seen, and he sees they have this like layer of all this treasure, and to get into that layer, it like opens up through the earth, is to say open sesame, and the doors open up, and then you say close sesame, and they close. So inside's all this treasure. He goes in there once they leave, he takes it, becomes richer than his brother, and then his brother's like, you're gonna show me where this treasure is, and you're gonna share it with me. The brother goes, he forgets the exit, like how to say open sesame once he's in there, and it's disgusting what happens to him. he dies. He gets found out and he dies. And I didn't like that it was disgusting, but it reminds me these are not children's stories. It's not for kids. It's pretty disgusting. But I like the cleverness of this story, because after all of this, they try to get the other brother, and the other brother, it's just very clever how they catch him, and they catch him again and again and again, because he keeps coming back to try to kill this guy, and he keeps getting, you know, his plans foiled. And I really liked how clever that was, and I don't know, it just was a good story. So definitely 5 out of 5 for that one. So that is all the stories I read this month. I was pretty proud of myself. But for the month of November, I have a small TBR. I am going to be trying to read more, especially on, so today's November 1st, and November 3rd is election day, and I don't want anything to do with election day. I just don't want to deal with the drama and all that stuff. So I'm actually going to be turning off my phone, my social media. I'm not going to be on my computer. I'm either going to write and read, or I'm going to write and watch a movie, or I'm just not going to be online. I don't want to deal with it. So I have a couple books I want to get through, and also I do want to finish the red book. So in this book, you have all of the fairy books, and they have all the different colors. Again, go watch that video if you haven't. But I'm in the blue fairy book right now, and I want to get to the red. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 more stories to go through, so I can probably finish it in either a month or 2. But this is going to be on my TBR. The next one I'm actually reading currently, and I'm loving. I'm about 25 pages in, and it's under 200 pages. Is this, and this is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I love this book so far. I am about that far into it, and I love this book. I already know it's a 5 out of 5. Pick this up if you haven't, but I'll go into more detail in November. Well, in my November wrap-up of what this is about, but it is a self-help book. It's a personal freedom book. So highly, highly recommend this if you haven't picked it up already. And then my camera's dying, so I'm going to try to do this very quickly. But the last one is going to be The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, A Fable About Fulfilling Your Dreams and Reaching Your Destiny by Robin Sharma. And if you don't know who Robin Sharma is, I do have a review of his 5 a.m. Club up on my channel. It's one of my favorite books. He is my hands down favorite inspirational speaker. So this one's more like spiritual, how to be spiritually free. And this one's more about how to be productive and to grow, basically be a master at your craft. So I highly recommend anything he has written. He has a couple podcasts. He's amazing, so highly recommend it. I have started it and I've really liked it. I'm on chapter 3 right now. So I'll be finishing this book and this book, and then a couple of fairy tales, and if anything else, you will see it in my next video. But I hope that you guys had a lovely October and a Halloween, and I hope that you guys are all staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you guys in my next one.